Josh and Frankie.
What a couple of dumb shits.
Hello, Primates! You found Primus Tracks. Congratulations! At Primus Tracks on Instagram. PrimusTracksPod@gmail.com is the email address. There's also patreon.com/Primus Tracks for all your Primus Tracks needs. And hey, if you have a question for Tim Soya, 337-514-7692 is the Ask Soya hotline. Today we are speaking with Harry Waters, keyboardist extraordinaire for the Les Claypool Frog Brigade, and we're going to talk about his work scoring film, as well as what's coming up in October with the Frog Brigade. Let's roll that tape.
Completely recovered from COVID, but
yeah,
coughed. You know, I've still got a cough.
So was that your first encounter with the COVID?
Second, yeah, I had it like two years ago, something like that.
The reason I ask is I wanted to know if these maladies inflict themselves upon you with regularity, because I got to see the Frog Tour in Oregon, and you said you were 70% that day, but I think the previous days you were near death.
I was like, the worst one was in New York. I remember Julie Slick. Wherever she's from, I can't remember where it was, but it was around that time of that gig. So he asked me one day, and I said, 70. And either the next gig or the gig before, I said, I'm at 40%. Yeah, I got like really gnarly flu. That was totally miserable. That was just awful. At least with COVID this time, I just went to bed, and I was just lying in bed for like 4 days, feeling terrible. But at least I'm lying in bed. But when you've got like the worst flu, but you've got to get on stage and sing and perform, it's just brutal, absolutely brutal. But yeah, so pretty unlucky.
You would call this an unlucky run. You're not permanently ill.
Yeah. It's pretty unlucky. To get the flu and then catch COVID. I mean, I caught COVID on the plane. I should have worn a mask. Back from the UK, because my son got it as well. We had identical symptoms and stuff. Should have worn a mask. My wife was smart. She wore a mask. She didn't get it.
Yeah, it's still out there. My bout of it wasn't too bad, but I just know it's going to happen again. I'm a school teacher, so somebody's going to bring it in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it sounds like you'll be at 100% for the upcoming Frog Run here in October.
Oh, yeah.
That's what we're primarily here to discuss. We should be hyping the next leg of the Summer of Green. Well, it's not the Summer of Green anymore. It's the Hunt for Green October.
Okay.
Is the name that's been bestowed upon this next tour.
Cool.
And a lot of people know your name. A lot of people know who you are as Harry Waters, or as Les called you, Semi-Harry Waters. I guess a haircut was involved there.
A beard cut as well.
So you were sporting more than you have now.
Oh, way more, like ZZ Top, like Billy Gibbons. Yeah, it was like down here.
Oh, my gosh. Well,
go back on my Insta if you want to see, if you're interested. Just go back on my Instagram, I don't know, beginning of COVID, like lockdown, I don't know, 2021, something like that, the big beard down here and long dreads, like down to my bum that I've had since I was about 20. I just went, no, I'm fed up with that. I did my hair first, cut the dreads off, but kept the beard for a few months, and then just went, let's be clean shaven,
Well, if you're game to talk about your personal grooming habits, I do have questions, because I clearly have long hair, but I've never dreaded it or done any of that. But I've had friends who have, and they say it's very easy. You just stick your head in salt water, so you don't have to wash it otherwise.
Oh, well, I mean, when the dreads I got, I went to a place and they like backcomb it and put beeswax in it, and with a hairdryer, sort of melt it in, and then they're there. Then you don't really need to do anything to them. You can have them retwisted if you want, but you don't really need to.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I had them for 25 years, I think, something like that.
That's a big change to cut all that off. Were you relieved when you did that?
Oh, so nice. Felt amazing. Yeah, totally. Feels amazing.
I think I can sympathize or empathize to a degree, because when all this is tied back and it's hanging down, it feels like I'm being yanked.
No, it's heavy. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, when I would go in like the pool, like swimming or surfing or whatever, with dreads, like really long dreads, they get so heavy with the water. It's just like really, really heavier than they already are. So it's just a sort of nightmare, really. Sure, it affected posture somehow. So I'm quite glad to be shot from.
You're able to submerge yourself now with comfort. That's good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's cool. So you've got a new look to a degree. We do want to talk the frogs because Frankie's chomping at the bit. He's been in full frog mode for months now. But we were looking at some of your credits, and you've composed music or contributed music that's been used by a lot of familiar names, corporations, networks, movie studios, and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
What was the interest in scoring and composing for film and TV?
Well, I'd been on the road. I was on the road for 3 years, pretty much non-stop from 2010 to 2013 with The Wall. And my kids were babies, and I just missed so much of their lives. And I just thought, I don't really want to be on the road quite so much anymore. So, like, what the hell am I going to do? Music is all I know. So I thought I better start writing music. And, I don't really write lyrics. So I sort of, songwriting was never really something I was hugely interested in. So I thought I better start writing scoring, So I just taught myself how to score for full orchestra and piano and all sorts of different ensembles, and just sort of took it from there. Really, that's how it started. And we moved here. We moved to LA. We moved from England in 2013, November 2013, and yeah, I had 18 months left on my O1 visa. So we thought, let's just do it. We'll stay for a year, see if we like it, see if I get any work. And we liked it. And that was 10 years ago. So it'll be our 10-year LA anniversary in November that we'll have been here.
Oh, congratulations. You made it a long time in that town.
Yeah, I know. 10 years. But it's good. It's good for work and good for meeting people. And, it's good. Yeah, I really enjoy it.
A follow-up question in general, because I don't know how to score a thing, but from the standpoint of being a performing musician, concentrating on your performance and, of course, listening to the people around you, what is the major difference from that going into scoring and having to, I guess, hear everything in your head before you put anything to paper?
Yeah. Scoring, there's not much playing. I mean, you sketch out the ideas initially, with technology, how it is these days. Obviously I'm a piano player, so recording on a MIDI controller, like any keyboard, is quite easy for me. The technique of it. So you just, I normally start with a melody. It depends what genre, but either a melody or a bass line or a rhythm. Those are my three sort of starting points. And I'll normally sit down at the piano first. I mean, you can't see mine, but my piano's there. And I'll normally, one of those three, either a bass line or a melody or a rhythm, some sort of percussion idea, but normally melody or bass. And I'll sketch out the harmony of something as well. So I'll do a melody and then I'll work out some harmony. And then I'll just start demoing it in Cubase, and maybe I'll play the lead with a violin or something. And then once I've got the harmony sorted, then I'll just start to decide what instrumentation I want, and what the orchestration is going to be. And do I use cellos and basses or woodwinds or whatever it is? I'm talking classical orchestra here, but there's tons of other options. Synths and, if you want to go away from the classical route. So I just started doing that, but that's how I tend to work.
Did you have any specific influences as far as composers go? John Williams always comes to mind just because his are so memorable.
He's my number one, hands down. His melodies are just so memorable. They're so good. My favorite piece of music is the Superman main theme from the Richard Donner Superman, with Christopher Reeve. That main theme is just incredible. I just get so excited when I hear it, and obviously Jaws and Raiders and Star Wars. And I mean, they're just countless, but who else apart from him? Alan Silvestri, I love. Back to the Future is one of my favorite scores. I absolutely love that. Cliff Martinez, I really, really like. He did the score for one of my favorite scores, which is for The Knick. that Steven Soderbergh TV show with Clive Owen as the like cocaine-addled genius surgeon in 1900, set in Manhattan at the Knickerbocker Hospital. Have you guys ever seen that?
Heard of it, yeah.
It's incredible. It's Steven Soderbergh, who I'm a huge fan of, and he made this TV show. And the score is incredible. It's all electronic. It's all electronic music, in 1900. So it's completely anachronistic.
Right.
But absolutely incredible. I love him. He's great. A big influence. John Bryan did like I Heart Huckabees and a bunch of other cool films. I think he did Punch Drunk Love. So yeah, Paul Thomas Anderson, who's one of my favourite filmmakers, he now uses Johnny Greenwood. So he did for the guitarist from Radiohead. So he did the score for like There Will Be Blood and a bunch of his other movies. That score for me is just amazing. There Will Be Blood. Great one. And Johan Johansson, who died recently, Icelandic composer who did Arrival, and then he did he did the score for the new Blade Runner movie, which I didn't like. I didn't like the film, but something happened, and then like he fired Johan Johansson, or he quit. I don't know exactly what happened, but then he quickly got Hans Zimmer in to write the score. So the existing score is with the existing version has Hans's score on it, but I would love to hear Johansson's score for that, but maybe I never will. But so yeah, a lot of good people out there,
Yeah.
Have you ever heard the intro for Rod Serling's Night Gallery?
I love Rod. I mean, I grew up on Twilight Zone. No, that doesn't come to mind.
It's revolutionary because it was composed entirely on a synthesizer. So.
Oh, okay. What's it called? Night Gallery. Is that a movie or what is that?
It's an anthology series that came after the Twilight Zone.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've not seen it. Oh, great. Who's the composer?
Gilles Meget.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, talking about synths, obviously you can't have a conversation about synths without talking about Wendy Carlos. The Shining score.
Oh, sure.
Is absolutely one of my favourites. I love her and her Switched on Bach. Is it called Turned on Bach? Switched on Bach. I think it's Switched on Bach, where she reimagines, a lot of Bach's famous pieces, but all on synths. It's just incredible. Wow. So I'm a big fan of hers.
So when you're watching film, Harry, it sounds like you're following the film, but you're also having your ear tuned to the music, so you can hear what it's doing, when it's doing it, and essentially why.
I mean, I'll try. If you're a filmmaker, it's hard to watch a film without deconstructing it and being at work, And I actually don't find that watching films, although I'm very interested in film. And I can actually watch a movie and just be totally sucked in and taken along for the ride and without really listening, But if I'm listening to music, it's very hard for me to, just on its own without picture, it's very hard for me to completely switch off that analytical part of my brain and start to sort of work it out and everything. But now I can go to a movie and I don't think about the score at all. But if I like it, then I'll go and listen to it a bunch and, download the score and read it and, see what's going on.
Oh, very good. Okay, because I taught some middle schoolers basic video production for a few years, right? And so I'd be watching a movie and I'd just lean over to my wife and say, that's called a dolly zoom. And she'd say, you have to stop that. So it's good that you're able to separate, because we do that to our spouses from time to time. Yeah. So I just have that habit of bugging her.
Yeah.
That's really cool that you have this really deeply rooted interest in film and scoring. And with all the names you dropped, you've definitely done your homework. So that's been the brunt of your livelihood, it sounds like, for quite some time. Then you get a call to join the Frog Brigade.
Yeah.
What in the heck? How'd that all come about?
That came about because I was on tour I was with The Wall, and I was in, where were we? We were in Frankfurt. And I don't know how or why, but I'd been in touch. Oh, I knew Jay. That's right. I knew Jay Lane, and, who was the drummer in the Frog Brigade, like, early on. And he was also the first Primus drummer, although they were called Sausage at that point. I don't know how much you know, but you probably know all this. But anyway, I was mates with Jay because, how did I meet Jay? my mum used to go out with Bob Weir. So I think, I don't know, she put me in touch with his management, something like that. And Rat Dog came to the UK and played.
Yeah.
And I got some backstage thing and went and hung out and met the band. And I got on really well with Jay because we share a love of video games. We're both totally total gamers. So I became mates with Jay. So I think probably when Primus were playing in Eindhoven, which I think is just over the border from Frankfurt to the Netherlands.
Okay.
And the F&R was the name of the venue. And I went with a couple of mates from the band, and we drove. It's like an hour and a half, 2 hours drive, but I sort of thought it was worth it. We had a day off. And so Jay introduced me to Les, and then he said, do you want to get up and play? Do you want to sit in? And I was like, fuck yeah. Because I've been listening to Primus since I was like 14 or 15. They're like one of my favourite bands, So I was so excited. And we soundchecked for quite a while. I've got the whole thing on video. We had a really good, fun soundcheck. We played some Grateful Dead. We played some Meters. We played, I don't know, a bunch of stuff, And so that was it. That was the first time I met Les and played with him. And then when I was on the road with Dean Ween, Les came to one of the gigs and he sat in. I think he played The Mollusk. I think that's like his favourite Ween song. Yes. And so he played that. So we got to play together again then and hung out a bit. And obviously I know Brad through Les. And then, I don't know, a couple of months before the tour, I got a text from Brad saying, I'm going to be in the Frog Brigade. And I was like, fuck yeah, of course I do, And that was that. I said yes, and there we go. Now I'm in the Frog Brigade.
Prior to all of these events unfolding, Harry, could you elaborate on how you first discovered Les Claypool's music and what your impressions about it were?
Yeah, through a mate, probably. I have a couple of friends that are into it. It's probably my friend Dom. I'm pretty sure it was probably around Tommy the Cat, like the 90s. No, it would have been before then, because that was like the mid-90s, wasn't it? I was already sort of listening to them by then. But I don't know, friend, I heard them somewhere, and then, I just loved it, because like there was nothing else kind of like it. I mean, how many bands are led by where the bass is the lead instrument? It's so like weird and unusual, but it's funky. I love funk music, but it's heavy as well, and I love metal. I love lots of different kinds of metal and everything. So it's sort of like heavy. I mean, it's not metal, but it's like, it's heavy. It has some of those sensibilities of metal, and funk and good groove, so I just loved it. Listen to it all the time, like Brown album and Caesar Cheese and Pork Soda and Stuck on This and Rhinoplasty, like all of them.
And what was your reaction when you discovered Les have covered Animals in its entirety?
I didn't know that, obviously. Well, until 20 years ago when he did the Frog Brigade, I listened to that record. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. It's better now. It was pretty rough around the edges. I mean, it was great. I loved it. And I loved Jay's playing on Shine On, I would have loved for Jay to, to play with Jay. I would have really liked that. I mean, I love Paolo. Don't get me wrong. He's a great guy and a great player. But, I wanted to play with Jay. It's cool. And it obviously doesn't sound anything like Pink Floyd at all, and it's just sort of rough and, it's just rough around the edges, but cool. It's got a vibe. But I think the way we do it now, it's just much more sort of polished and together. I just think it sounds more together, as a sort of, different vibe.
Well, first, I want to say that I quite agree with Harry. I hadn't thought about how the Live Frogs albums and the show that I witnessed are essentially the same songs. But like Harry said, with the current lineup, it sounds incredibly polished. Yeah.
I mean, I've got the benefit of having played those songs for, God knows, decades, Jeff's amazing. Jeff's such a good keyboard player. It's not like he didn't play them right or anything. He played them great, but I've got the sounds and, I lived and breathed that music for so long with Dad, and I grew up with it, and I've really internalized that music.
So as a follow up to that, you show up for rehearsals. Oh, well, I'm sure you were sent a song list well ahead of time and said, know these songs. And then of Les's various projects. So rehearsals start. The animal stuff you've got down and you've got a vision. You know what you're doing there. But then you have this list of Les Claypool tunes. So talk about that contrast in rehearsals.
Yeah. I mean, that was a lot. I had like a couple of months. Maybe it was slightly less. Maybe it was 7 weeks or something. Brad sent us a list, like a Spotify list of, I think it was 42 songs. Wow. So a shit ton of material, 5 of which are animals. So that brings it down to 37, so I already know 5. And I was just like, oh my God, this is so much, 37 songs. That's such a huge amount to really remember and internalize, You just get on with it. I'm a professional musician, so you start at the top and you start listening and playing along. And, and half of those songs don't even have keyboards on them. Right. A lot of the, there's only 2, there were only, I think there's only one Primus song, like Southbound Pachyderm. I don't even think there was another one. But a bunch of his solo stuff has got no keyboards on it. So I learned the bass parts and I sort of learned the guitar parts. I just learned a bunch of the parts and I just learned the harmony. So I learned the form and the chords, and I was like, I don't really know what I'm going to be playing on here. But I spoke to Les a few times and said, how about if I play like a funky part on this? And he was like, yeah, that's fine. Anyway, having learned these 37 songs, 42 including animals, when we got to rehearsal and for the tour, we rotated like less than 20 of them. We were sort of rotating about 15 songs. Like we played every night, we played 4 songs, then animals, then another 4, and then I think the encore on the end. So there's 9 songs a night. And he would rotate out 1 or 2 of them. But I did not play those 37 songs. I played less than half of them,
Do you recall, Harry, which songs didn't make it to the Summer of Grain tour?
Yeah, I can tell you exactly if you want to know.
Cool.
Please.
So you actually learned the songs, you rehearsed them,
we
didn't
rehearse them. I learned all of them. So the ones that didn't make it, I've got my list here. Highball with the Devil, we played once or twice. Calling Kyle, we never played. Oh, wow. Precipitation, we played every night. Yep. The Awakening, we never played. We did McAllister, Buzzards. Long in the Tooth, I don't think we ever played. Wamola, we did almost every night. Dee's Diner, we played a lot. Roof, we played. McAllister 2, we played. I'm just going through all of them. Yeah. Cosmic Highway, we played. One Better, we played. Lust Stings, we only played towards the very end. Yep. We played it a few times. Phantom Patriot, we played once or twice. Rumble, we played a lot. Okay, so now we're getting to the ones. Filipino Ray, never played. Mushroom Men, never played. Amanitas, we played a couple of times. Red State Girl, we never played. Boonville Stomp, we never played. Thai Noodles, we never played.
Thai Noodles?
Yeah, we never played that. Fela Sinjeet, we played a few times. Never played Riddles. We played Hendershot a couple of times. We played Gauntlet a couple of times. We never did Shine On, You Crazy Diamond. Mr. Right and Cricket we played. Pachyderm we played. And then there's 5 covers. One Step Beyond, Planet Claire, we never played. Tomorrow Never Knows, we did once or twice. And Locomotive Breath by Jethro Tull, we never played. So I wasn't counting, but,
Jeez, Harry, this is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
We knew that Riddles hadn't made the cut, but it was contemplated.
We never played.
We never even imagined Time Noodles was considered. That is just insane.
Weird. I guess because it's got Bernie Worrell on it and the keyboards are so sort of weird and interesting, maybe he thought it would be a good, a good idea. But there you go.
Yeah. What a list. Some of those covers that you named were pretty common in the Frog Brigade days of the early aughts. So it's really cool that those were considered to come back.
Yeah, it would have been fun to do a couple of those. But
which songs are you hoping will make it to the fall tour, Harry?
We haven't had any updated set list or anything. So, I'm so busy. I've never been this busy in my life. I've got 2 films on. Well, one I just finished like 2 days ago, so it's great. Like weight off my plate. But 2 movies, and then this other huge project. I've got to write like 90 minutes of music at 4. It's like an interactive theme park experience. People walk through a forest, and there's like a behemoth monster. It's in the Ozarks. So it's this whole thing, and it's like walking through portals to an alien planet and stuff. So it's got to have all this like whimsical music and stuff and whatever, but it's like 90 minutes worth. And I'm working with Kip Lennon, who was one of the BVs on Dad's tour. That's how I know him. And he's in the band Venice here. And he did all the singing. This is a cool fact. He did all the singing for The Simpsons. So in any episode of The Simpsons, when there's like Sting or Michael Jackson, I don't know if you remember that episode of The Simpsons.
Oh, yeah.
And there's like a sort of bald, fat, white guy from a lunatic asylum, and he sings that song, "Happy Birthday, Lisa, Lisa, yes. It's your birthday." So Michael Jackson wanted to do the speaking, but he didn't want to do the singing. So they get Kip in. So Kip's like the impersonator for all of The Simpsons. Anyway, so he's helping me on this job to write this 90 minutes of music, but it's got to be done by the 28th, which is in 15 days. And he's going away for about 7 of those days. So we've got like 6 or 7 days to write. We've done about 20. So we've got to write 10 minutes of music a day finished, which is unbelievable amount of music, like finished, not just demoed, finished. Normally, if on my own, I can do 2 minutes a day of finished music if I really work hard. And we've got to do 10 a day. So it's insane. So I'm hoping that Les won't say, "Here's another 40 songs to learn." No. And that was the other thing. When about 10 days before the tour started, we all found out that Skerrick had fucked his shoulder.
Right.
So I got a call from, I can't remember, Les or Brad, I can't remember, saying, "Can you learn all the horn parts as well?" Are you fucking kidding me? Now I've got to learn like horn parts for 40 songs, So I went in and learned all the horn parts as well.
You have quite a challenge ahead of you just for the music that you're creating in the next 2+ weeks.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah.
And then you're going to turn right around and go rehearse with the Frog Brigade then.
The deadline of this 90-minute job is the 28th. So hopefully I'll be done by then. And then I can have like 7 or 8 days to really like shed the Frog Brigade stuff, which is fine. I mean, I know it all, it's there, but I need to refresh, But I'm hoping there aren't like tons of new songs because I'll just have to stay up all night practicing.
Well, with that in mind, my follow-up question is, as far as the summer tour went, by all accounts, it was well received everywhere you went.
I think so.
Yeah, the show I attended, lots of smiles everywhere. I only saw one person get kicked out. So great crowd. But what were some highlights for you on the summer tour?
Oh my God, watching Remain in Light for the 10 days or so that they were with us. That was just incredible. I mean, I just love that music. I was just transfixed every single night. I couldn't get enough of it. I watched their show 10 times, however many gigs they did with us, every single night. It's just amazing. And meeting Adrian and Jerry and all of Cool, who are their backing band, who are all just incredible people. That was amazing, seeing that.
It must have been amazing, Harry, particularly because, I mean, tracks like Once in a Lifetime have been performed extensively, but songs like Seen and Not Seen are incredibly rare. So it's, I'm sorry to be redundant, but it's a once in a lifetime opportunity, right? To hear amazing. These songs live.
Yeah, it was just amazing. So that was a real highlight. But I mean, all of it, just playing every night was just amazing. Playing at I think it was called the New York Theatre, Westbury Theatre, New York or something, just like sort of in Long Island. I can't remember, sort of just as you're heading into Long Island, because it's in the round. So the stage rotates. So it's amazing. You're like, you're sort of facing sort of in and you're facing the audience, but then you're looking at different members of the audience, and it sort of rotates slowly over 45, 50 minutes and then goes back. That was amazing because I've never done that before. So that was really good fun.
Westbury was the show that I caught, Harry. I traveled from Mexico City to watch it. And
Westbury, there you go.
I got to take a photo with you after the show. Thank you very much for that.
Cool. Oh, you're welcome. No problem. No problem.
On two different ends of the spectrum, Harry, what was the song that you had the most fun playing, and what was the most challenging song?
I mean, I love playing Animals. I love playing all of Animals. That's always really good fun. But of Les's stuff, either Roof, Up on the Roof. I like Dee's Diner. I like Buzzards. I like the funky ones when I get to play like a funky clav. So those are Dee's Diner and Buzzards. God, there's another funky clav one. I can't remember. Can't remember. But those are really good fun. And Roof is really good fun. Pachyderm's great fun. I love playing Cosmic. Is really good fun. Sorry, what was the? I felt like that was a 2-part question. I can't remember the other part.
Hardest or most challenging?
Oh, hardest. Yeah, most challenging. You know what? In working out how to play. Okay, so yeah, he had me playing a mini Moog for some of the solos, and I'm not like a solo synth guy. Never used a monophonic synth like ever in my life. So learning how to physically use that and get a good sound was really, and like switches and like when to use the mod wheel and the pitch bend and twiddling with it, trying to make it sound good took me a while. And then also melodically and harmonically working out how to play the solo in Wamola. And then I was struggling. I was like, I just can't make this sound good. And then I just worked out all I really have to do is either just play diminished, or I can play like whole tone scale. Just that Les loves the tritone. I don't know, only musicians will really understand what this is. It's called the tritone substitute. I'll explain it in very basic terms. Mm-hmm. If you have a scale of an octave, so if you're going from C to C, there's 12 semitones. So the tritone substitute is the note right in the middle of any chromatic scale of an octave. So in C, the tritone is F sharp. It's bang in the middle, mm-hmm. In G, it's C sharp, etc., etc. And there's so many tritones all throughout Primus's. Les just loves the tritone. So that you can play the tritone. If you play the whole tone scale, the fourth note of the whole tone scale is the tritone. But the tritone is also in the diminished scale. If you start with a half step, whole step, whole step, you hit tritone. Okay. So I tried to make that as basic and as simple as I can. I realize most people will go, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. But so yeah, that's solo in Wamola. Until I can just play a whole tone or diminished over this. I sort of struggled and I kept trying to play fast runs and it just didn't work. So just play nice slow runs with diminished or whole tone. That was the hardest bit for me. That took me quite a few shows before I felt comfortable, But as long as you had the tritone in there, you knew you were in the sweet spot. If you're ever confused about what to play, just play a tritone. Alternate between the root and the tritone, and you'll be fine. No, that's great. Just as a side note, I played piano from age 4 to 12, and then a friend showed me rock and metal music, which I'd never heard before, and I went, well, piano's for wimps, and I decided that this is the 12-year-old brain. I don't want to do this anymore. Fast forward 30 years later, I picked up the same piano books that I had when I was a kid, and the last 3 weeks I've gotten them out and I'm playing again. It's phenomenal. It's a whole different part of my brain. So it's amazing. It's really great to hear you talk music and I understand it. It's quite nice. Yeah. Well, it sounds like you had a great time on the tour in the summer, and I'm sure we're all looking forward to the one coming up in October. I just kind of want to run down the lineup of the Frog Brigade. If I say a name, you can just stream of consciousness. What do you love about playing with these guys? And let's start with Paolo. Yeah, I mean, they're all great. Paolo's fantastic. He's got all the parts down and just great player, really good fun to play with. Nice to be around. Lovely guy. Yeah, he's great. Really good. We've talked to Mike D a few times. That guy never stops. Yeah, I know. And so touring with him, do you feel like you're just trying to keep up? I mean, we obviously him, Sean, and I are like solo instruments. We get our fair share of solos. He's so virtuosic, and I was never really virtuosic. So I don't even try and. I don't want to say compete, but I don't even try that approach with this music. You know, I would love to play some jazz with the guy because we both love playing bebop. I would really like that because I've got that language and so does he. But in terms of the rock music, I play more just slower lines. You know, he plays so sort of fast in places. So no, I don't. I'm not competing with him, you know, in any kind of way. I don't feel.
What do you like about his playing?
I mean, everything. You know, his timing's just flawless. His technique is so good. His timing's great. And he just has really interesting melodic ideas and harmonic. His harmony is so sort of out there and so fits in with what Les does. You know, it's just properly bonkers. You know?
Yeah. By chance, have you heard his Punkadelic band?
Not heard Punkadelic. I've heard Mallet Men.
Yep.
And another band, but I've not heard the Punkadelic.
Can't recommend it enough. I would assume you'd like it. They're a great trio.
Yeah, that's great.
Over the course of the tour, you posted some video, or maybe Sean did, or the two of you did, of you guys jamming in hotel rooms and working out parts.
Yeah.
So what was it like playing with Sean?
Yeah, I mean, amazing. We're just like separated at birth. Obviously, you know, we have incredibly famous, successful parents, you know, dads. So we have that in common. We just get on so well. And I had my melodica with me wherever I go so that I can work stuff out or whatever, practice in the hotel room if I want. So that was really good fun. That was right at the beginning. That was when we were rehearsing. We were trying to work out Rumble, like Rumble of the Diesel, you know. I hadn't worked out. When we first got into rehearsals, you know, a bunch of these songs don't have keyboard parts on them, so I didn't really know what to play. So Les was like, you got to do this bit. So I was like, okay, I need to do some shedding in the hotel room. So Sean sat in because he was the same, like, Les wants us to play this kind of funky thing, you know. So that was what that video was us trying to work out that, you know. And that was great. He's a great guy. We hang out a lot. And he's also, I've been obsessed with chess for about 25 years. And he used to play and he hasn't done for years. But now I'm like, come on, let's play chess. And so now we play every day for hours. He's as obsessed as I am. And I've been teaching him because, you know, I play a lot more. So I'm a higher level. But we're close and we played quite a lot of games. And, you know, so that's amazing. Having someone else there who will play chess with me whenever I want is huge for me, you know. So I'm quite obsessed.
Yeah. Do you guys go back a ways, you and Sean?
No.
Oh, wow. No, okay.
Didn't meet him until day one of rehearsal.
Oh, is that so? Wow. So
we have one phone conversation, like one Zoom or FaceTime, whatever it was, a few weeks before. Just I was discussing a musical thing. I can't even remember what we talked about.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fast friends. And I say that because I have a question about a set list drawing of Sean peeking in on you taking a shower.
That's one of the best ones. Les obviously took some license with the reality of the situation. We were in, it was in, I think it was in the Wilton in LA. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the Wilton. I wouldn't bet my life on it, but I'm 99% sure. And there was a shower, as there are in most of the dressing rooms that we have. You know, these venues are nice and they have showers and stuff. But this one had it wasn't separate. There was no door or anything. So there was one sort of big black sort of curtain kind of thing, but it wasn't really very private. And then behind that was a really sort of flimsy nothing shower curtain, but it was basically sort of see-through. So you were just like pretty exposed. So I don't know, I guess Les came in and said, where's Harry? And like Sean was like, oh, he's in the shower. So, and that's, you know, that was all it was. There was no like peeking or anything. That's where it came from. You know, I just happened to be in the shower at the time, but it's such a good one. If you look like closely, you can, in the drawing, you can see my bum sort of poking out from behind the crack in the curtain, you know? So that was that one.
That's great, man. That one was highly amusing. And of course, a lot of those doodles are wonderful.
Yeah, they're great.
I don't know if you've had a chance ever to play with Skerrick before, but what are you looking forward to with Skerrick coming back?
I can't wait. It's going to change everything because, you know, we've been covering his parts. And so maybe some of my parts are going to change. I don't know. I'm really looking forward to it. Having a sixth member, it's going to be fun. Yeah, can't wait.
I really hope he's 100% because he's a ball of energy when he is.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Harry, could you please elaborate on your solo for Buzzards of Green Hill? I've been playing a recording of Buzzards from the Summer of Green tour, and Les cues you to play what sounds like an organ to me.
Oh, yeah, I'm playing B3. Is that?
Yes.
Is that the one when we stop and then he goes, one more time, Harry, 2, 3,
Exactly.
4,
That's right. And then you go into this incredible solo.
Yeah, I'm just playing. Can you send it to me? I'd love to know. I haven't heard it, so I'd love to hear it. If you can send me an MP3. I'm just playing pentatonic and blues. It's just D minor. So I just play minor, pentatonic, and blues. And I'm trying to think, do I ever go modal on that? No, I just stick to minor, pentatonic, and blues scale.
It's an audience recording from YouTube, but some sound better than others. So yeah, I like playing them once in a while, and I think your solo is a highlight.
Oh, thank you. That's very kind. Yeah, if you can send me the link or something, I'd love to check it out. You know, it's always nice to hear. That's if you're ever trying to learn how to play, you have to record yourself. There's a bunch of tips and simple sort of ideas how you can get better, but you have to critique yourself. So recording yourself playing is essential to learning how to play properly, because you might play something and you might think, this sounds great. And then you put on the metronome or whatever, play along and you record it. And then you listen back and go, that does not sound how I thought it would. It doesn't sound as good. And then you need to work out why. So it's good to listen to your solos and go, oh yeah, that's really good. I like that. Or go, that idea didn't work. And then eliminate it from your practice and your playing, so next time you don't play it, It's very good to listen to yourself, critique yourself.
Absolutely. Back to the piano thing, my biggest thing, and I remember old Mrs. Coster used to get on me for this when I was 8. I didn't arch my wrists. I'd keep them flat, so I'm constantly looking down and making sure my hands are properly formed on the keys.
Yeah. Well, I mean, your wrists want to be flat. You don't play like this, but your hands want to be curved.
Yeah.
But your wrist shouldn't be like that. Your wrist shouldn't be bent. Mm-hmm. Your wrist should be like that. Mm-hmm. I mean, can you see my hands? Yeah. Look, my wrist is almost completely straight.
Mm-hmm. I have a tendency to flatten it out like this when I'm playing.
Oh, that's really bad. You can't do anything like that. That's not good. Yeah, I mean, if you drop down too low, you don't want to be like that, or too high. You just, you want your arm parallel to the floor like this. This is a, good playing position. Your wrist should be basically straight.
Frankie, I just got a tip from Harry Waters.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Maybe I won't charge you for that one.
I appreciate that. The last question I've got before I know Frankie's got a million is going from being friendly with Les and being a fan of his more or less, especially as a younger guy, to actually playing with him on stage. We know he's the band leader, and one of our favorite things here at Primus Tracks is when he does the call down, because we know what that means. But him as a band leader, watching him play every night and listening to him play every night, what's that like for you now?
Just amazing, like a dream come true.
Yeah,
absolute dream come true. When I was a kid, I had like 4 bands that I wanted to play with, and I've done 3 of them. I've got 1 left. So the first one was the Osric Tentacles. So you may or may not know them. They were like a psychedelic rock band in the late 80s, early 90s, And I met them at a house party. I met John, the flautist. And it was like a sort of grimy house party in London in I was probably 16 or 17 maybe. So it would have been like 91 or something like that, 91 or 92. And every room, there's people drunk and just doing drugs and getting stones and whatever. And every room I went into had like awful music, like just shitty, horrible music that I didn't like, sort of dance music or electronic music that I just didn't like. And then I made it into the kitchen, and there was this there were a bunch of like dirty hippies, with all beards and dreads and everything, sort of huddled around an old tape deck, like Ghetto Blaster, we used to call it, but like tape deck. And the music was just awesome. It was amazing. And I went over and I said, "Oh, what's this music?" And one of these hippies said to me, "That's us. That's me. That's my band. I'm the flautist in this band." And I was like, "Hey, good to meet you." You know. And he was John. He is John. He was the flautist in that band. And so we were mates. And then about 10 years later, so I would have been like, no, a bit less. I would have been 23 or 24. Their keyboard player got ill, and John got in touch and said, "Hey, do you want to come and do a tour with the Ozrix?" Like, yes, amazing. So I toured with them. And then the other one was with Ween. Like, Ween are just my absolute favourite band. And I toured with Dean Ween. So, like, Aaron wasn't there. But, you know, that was the whole experience, and just absolutely amazing. Dream come true, because I love the music. And then Les, playing with Les, because, like, Primus were my absolute favourites. So playing with Les. So the fourth one, which I think is quite unlikely now, is to play with the Grateful Dead. You know, so Jeff went from the Frog Brigade, 20 years ago. Him and Jay are now playing with Dead and Company.
Yep.
So, like, I don't know, I feel maybe at some point, I might end up, that might be my trajectory. But I don't know. Let's wait and see. Maybe they'll never play again or whatever. But my second job was in a Grateful Dead tribute band. So I grew up listening to that music, and we played some Allman Brothers and a bit of Little Feat and that kind of thing. But like 99%, and some Fish as well, but mainly Grateful Dead. And we toured all over Europe and stuff. So I really cut my teeth on American jam music by playing the Grateful Dead, playing keyboards in the Grateful Dead tribute band. So I feel I'd be a pretty good fit, So, Mickey or Bob, if you're watching this, Jeff's not around, I'm your guy.
Well, it was pretty cool, because on that last Dead tour, and previous ones as well, Jay was essentially the relief drummer if Bill couldn't make it for the rest of the show. So, Jeff might get tired from time to time.
Maybe.
What a list. That's really cool. And I just have to give Ween credit, because those guys, what I appreciated about them and still do, and you can speak to this too, is they are just genius songwriters, because they say, okay, we're going to write a Prince song, and it sounds just like a Prince song. But
which one's their Prince song?
Well, there's a couple that come to mind, like Monique the Freak for me is one.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Sweet Ambrosia, I think, is the other one that comes to mind. I can't remember. There's another one that's...
The one for me is Let Me Lick Your Pussy.
Oh, of course, yes. That's the one that's leaving my mind.
Yeah, that's the real Prince one for me. That's just total Prince.
Yeah, and so, but it's great because they go, we wrote a Prince song. Now let's write a James Taylor song, and they write a James Taylor song, right? And it sounds just like them. They are, their ears are unparalleled as far as I'm concerned in pop music.
They're amazing. They're one of my favourite bands of all time. And live, just amazing. They played the same festival that we played, I don't know, towards the end of the tour, but on a different night. So I saw them play and hung out, because I'm buddies. So it was really nice to see them. It was amazing. I love them. They're just like my favourite band ever. I just love them. I know all their material. I'm like an ultra Ween fan,
Oh, you should probably start a Ween podcast.
Yeah, I totally could. I could talk about them forever,
Oh, that'd be incredible. But that's, it's really cool to hear you talk like this or speak of it in such a way, because sometimes there are no words for it. Like, my love of Primus goes back to when I was 13 and discovered rock music, and it just completely changed my perspective on a lot of things. And it just spoke to me in such a way that I can't quantify it. So it's really cool you've got that going for you as well.
Yeah.
That just speaks to the wonder of music. Even though clearly you've reached the highest heights. You're scoring films. You're playing with all kinds of artists who are at the top of a lot of people's lists, but you can still retain that sense of wonder.
Yeah. Harry, we have time for one last question. Can you please tell us what you have contributed to the third Claypool Lennon Delirium album, and if you will be part of the band?
I don't know. We've sort of talked about it briefly. Like, we spent a bus journey listening to some of the demos. I got no idea. I would imagine so. I know that Sean wants to do some more playing with me and record some stuff. So I don't know. At the moment, they've just got a bunch of demos. There's nothing firm. Can't say. We haven't had a problem. conversation.
wow.
You know?
Did anything in particular stand out for you in those demos?
I can't remember. I don't want to talk about their demos. You know what I mean? It's private.
Sure.
You know, I probably shouldn't say, I don't want to give any spoilers or anything.
Yeah. In general, did what you heard pique your interest?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's great. I think Sean brings a very much like, Les is very rhythmical. He's got groove and feel and time and everything, but he's not melodic, if we're being honest. That's not like his thing. He sings and everything, but, he's not like a melodic guy. And Sean brings that more traditional melody and harmony. His music sounds quite Beatles-esque. I don't want to just say, oh, you sound like your dad, but it's the two songs we did. Well, we introduced a third one. We did Cricket, Mr. Right, and then Blood and Rockets.
Right.
We introduced into the set. They're melodic in a way that Les's music just never is, because he's not that kind of singer. He's not that kind of musician. So I love the way that Sean sort of pulls Les in that direction.
No, that stands to reason. Yeah, we've always described Les as a percussive player.
Totally, he's a percussionist on the bass.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, Les has an amazing ear for melody and harmony, and it's not like it's not there, but it's just he's not Jeff Buckley. He's not like melody based music.
Yeah.
So I love that Sean sort of pulls that out of him.
Yeah. So if you get the call,
I truly hope, Harry, that you are part of the band.
Yeah.
It would be absolutely incredible to see you play with them.
What, Delirium, you saying?
Yes, I think you would bring something really amazing to the lineup.
I would love it. I hope it happens. We haven't had any conversation, but I know they don't have a keyboard player. They were using Joao from Mastodon. He's on there, like, I don't know, some of the records. Or actually, I think it's them on the records, but then there's a live recording, and Joao, they needed someone to do it, So Joao is on that. Yeah. So I don't think they've got a keyboard player, so I think I stand probably a better chance than anyone else, but I don't know. Let's see.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
It'd be really great to get you in that fold. And for that third record, man. So if you get the call, I imagine you're going to say yes.
Because you're also a great singer, Harry.
Sorry.
Oh, well, thank you. I've literally never, this is the first time I've ever sung. It's on this tour. I've never sung before. Ever.
Wow. Well, you got a really fantastic voice. I can only imagine how Claypool and On Delirium would benefit from having two great singers and Les's narrations on the tracks.
Well, thank you. It's fun. I enjoy singing. I love singing dogs. That's really good fun.
Does it help if this is your first kind of tour where you've been singing a lot or at all? Does it help to be kind of on the back line there, hiding behind your keyboards, or do you care at all?
I don't care.
Yeah,
it wouldn't make any difference. I'm not nervous. I'm perfectly happy being in the back. I don't need to be at the front. There's no need for me to be at the front. Yeah, and when Skerrick's there, obviously he'll be at the front. So there'll be the three of them in front. And, I'm part of the rhythm section, really.
Yeah.
I know Les is rhythm section traditionally, but he's not. He's lead, So the drums and then Mike and me, we're the rhythm section. That's sort of how I see it, I don't need to be at the front. But if you put me at the front, sure, I'll go at the front. I don't mind. But I'm not like a front man. I don't seek that.
A bonus question, Harry.
Yeah.
Kind of a cheeky one.
Yeah.
Have you got a favorite Bowie album?
Oh, jeez.
Oh, Bowie, I don't really know Bowie. I know the hits and stuff. No, is the answer. Don't know the music well enough. You can ask me that about Ween, or like Little Feat or something, but I don't know about Bowie.
Okay.
No.
I'll throw another bonus question on top of that because I forgot to ask it earlier if you're game.
Yeah.
The Joplin stuff that you would drop on the crowds.
Yeah.
Tell us about Joplin, because he was so far ahead of his time. He was such a filthy player. What attracted you to that? And then just talk about playing that stuff, because it sounds so difficult.
That was the first thing that really got me into the piano. I started playing when I was about 8 or 9. And I sort of enjoyed it. And I played like 20 minutes a day, half an hour, just kind of for fun and a bit of practice. But it wasn't until I was about 11 or 12, I went to a new school and got a new piano teacher. And he introduced me to like Dr. John and Scott Joplin and ragtime and all of that, boogie woogie and stuff. And so that really like got me into it. And then I said to myself, I want to learn how to do this. And Scott Joplin just happened to be the one. I had a Scott Joplin book and learned to play a bunch of those tunes, And Les just loves Maple Leaf Rag. So whenever he asks me to do something, sometimes I'll play some Dr. John or some Professor Longhair, some New Orleans stuff, but you can just tell he just wants to hear like the Maple Leaf Rag, Like one time I started playing like a blues, like a New Orleans sort of Dr. John style blues. Yeah. And he stopped me. He just stopped me after about 6 or 7 bars. He went, Harry. And I was like, I didn't know whether I kept playing. And he was like, stop. And he's like, that music just makes me sad. Play the music that makes me happy. So I was like, oh, fuck it. All right. And I just went back and I played Maple Leaf Rag. So now I just always play Maple Leaf Rag every night because it makes him happy. And that's fine. It's great. It's a nice little bit to do,
Yeah, that's a nice bonus. You're making him happy.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I have got away with a Professor Longhair cover of like a 1930s calypso by Lionel Belasco, which is called Rum and Coca-Cola. And it's actually on my jazz record. We do it as a trio, just me and the bass and the drums. Oh. And so I can sometimes sneak that in and he doesn't stop me playing that. I think he quite likes that one, So, yeah.
Oh, that's cool, man. The Joplin connection that, I saw The Sting when I was a little kid, and that music resonated big time.
Totally. I mean, that's the best soundtrack. It's fantastic.
Oh, what a great entry point for that kind of music, which, kids these days don't listen to just naturally. Yeah. We're at about an hour, Harry. Thank you so much for your time, man.
Thank you so much, Harry.
It's really fun. Yeah, cool.
Excellent, man. And it sounds like you're on the mend, and we're, of course, rooting for you to, 1, get to 100% health, and 2, I really hope you finish that music that you need to finish by the 28th. I will. Yeah. And that you're happy with it, I should add.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's the important part.
Yeah. Well, the Frog Brigade heads back out for the month of October. It's the Hunt for Green October. Primates, go out, say hello to Harry, scream at him from the crowd.
Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us, Harry.
Problem. Yeah, no problem. Thanks, guys.
Thanks again to Harry Waters for that fantastic talk. You guys definitely have to get out and see An Evening with the Frog Brigade in October. Check out lesclaypool.com for those tour dates. Later days.
Will Mace.